Well, it's the middle of winter and you're kind of feeling bad for your chickens, right? I mean, they're just kind of huddled there looking sad. There's really not a whole lot you can do, and you really, really don't want to bring them into your house.
Smells a little bit like poops in here. Good morning, ladies. Seriously.
That was a bad idea last year. But you might be feeling really bad for them. They can't free range. If you do free range them this time of year, they don't like going into snow. You do get cold snaps where they sit there and they kind of just huddle up and they look miserable. But there's 5 things that you can do to make sure that they can have the happiest winter that they possibly can. And I'm going to show you a few of those things. But first, I got to get this clown inside. So the first and most important thing you're going to want to do is really keep a watchful eye on their food and water. In the summer, if you free range your chickens, you probably aren't going to have to fill up their hanging feeder as much. But in the winter, they eat a lot of food because it helps them to stay warm. So you're going to need to fill this up at least twice a week, more depending on if you have more chickens. I just have 4. The other thing you're going to want to monitor is their water. Now, you can get away with probably changing it out once a week in the winter, whereas the summer you're probably going to want to do 2-3 times a week for the algae buildup. It's still important to just keep an eye on that. And make sure, if you don't have one of these already, that you've got one of these heated poultry fonts because their water is going to freeze. And it just takes a little bit to do that. And it's also really good to make sure that you're actually looking at that heated poultry font at least once a day to make sure that it's working. You don't want to be the last to know that they've had frozen water for all day or the last 2 days and not been able to drink anything. So make sure that you at least jiggle it, dip your finger in it, make sure it's actually not frozen water that they can drink. And then fill it up once a week too for them. Make sure it's nice and fresh. They do appreciate being fussed over. Okay, so another thing that you can do in the winter to improve your chicken's quality of life is to give them some of your table scraps. They really do like just about anything that you will eat. There's not a whole lot that's off limits. Today I've got old stale cornbread muffin, some apple cores, and a leftover frozen fish patty. They go nuts for the fish. They really love the protein this time of year. Look what I got. You know, Parm's always the first one when it comes to food. Yep, goes for the fish every time. Another thing that you can do, which the chickens will appreciate, is lay down some fresh straw or Timothy grass. I like to put straw inside the coop here, and they always get excited whenever I add fresh new straw to it because they like to scratch through it. In the winter, I really don't take the old straw out. It's so frozen down anyways. It almost acts as a little bit of an insulator to the bottom of this thing. But what I do sometimes is put Timothy grass in the run. And what they like is there's actually some organics within Timothy grass that they can actually eat. And another thing that you can also do on top of that is maybe sprinkle some freeze-dried mealworms in with that straw or the Timothy grass, and that kind of recreates the joy of free-ranging and scratching and finding a bug, which is what they live for. That really makes them very happy in the winter. So give that a shot. Yeah, if you don't pick their eggs up in time. Look at that. This froze, and now it's an eggsicle. You can see where part of the shell was. But yeah, it's kind of a waste. It's super hard when it's really frigid outside like it's been to get the eggs before they freeze. We do try to get out here twice a day, but sometimes we forget, and now you have a wasted egg. That's like $5 right there. All right, one of the things I do like to do is spread some of this freeze-dried mealworms down on the run for them. Kind of gives them something to hunt for and look for. Show you how this is done. Look at, she knows. She knows what this bag means. Noodle's the smart one. Yep. It's the song of treats. This is going to give them some extra protein, which they really need in the winter, especially Pot Pie, who's finishing up molting. Calm down. Hey? Anybody? Any takers? See, I'm not so bad, Noodle. Pot? No? Parm, no hesitation with that. Barb? Barb has yet to. Barb's afraid of me. One final thing that you can do to make your chickens' days a little bit brighter in the winter is to give them an activity. Now, I know you're thinking, these are chickens, right? I mean, what can they do? Well, not much, but they do like cabbage balls. How do you make a cabbage ball? What's a cabbage ball? Basically, we're going to, with this drill, drill a hole through this entire head of cabbage, and we're going to put a bolt through it. And we have a chain that hangs inside the run, and this will kind of swing freely, and the chickens can have turns pecking at it, pushing it. It kind of is a movable treat for them to work on. Sometimes if we're out of town for a day or so, we'll put one of these in the run, and by the time they come back, it is completely decimated. And one added benefit to cabbage is that their yolks get really super dark orange after they eat a whole lot of cabbage due to the vitamins in it. So I'm going to show you how to make it. Let's take a look. So I have a power drill here with a 5/8 inch speed bore spade bit, and that's going to make it really easy to drill through this thing. I'm not going to press very hard, but I am going to go through the core. See? I'm already through. It will make a mess. As you can see, they're already excited about it, especially Parm. So what we have going on here is just a simple piece of wire and a what's called an eye bolt. And at the bottom, we've just got a simple nut and a couple of fender washers. I know. So basically, what we do is we just put the eye bolt through the head of cabbage, like that. Come the washers. That holds the cabbage head in place. And then the nut kind of holds everything. I know, right? They're really excited about this. There you go, girls. See, and it just kind of swings back and forth, and they have a little bit of fun with it. And they also really, really love cabbage, as you can tell. So, all right, guys, so I hope whatever I showed you today you found useful. If you guys have any good suggestions about what you do for your chickens, I'd love to hear them. I'm always open to any kind of comments, even criticism. Oh, looks like the train's coming. That ought to be fun for you girls. But be sure, like, share, subscribe. Here it is. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks, guys.